Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of empowerED Podcast Season 6. Our theme is Rebuild, and we are exploring how education moves forward as we dance to the pandemic. And we are very excited to have a fresh guest, a fresh face. As we can say, she's gonna be our first guest from India. And just to introduce her, our special guest for today's episode is Santhi Karamcheti. She is a passionate special educator and advocates equal opportunity and inclusive education system. She's from India. She's one of the friends that I've met through the Global Teacher Prize as she was part of the top 50 finalists in 2016. Her work really revolves around special education. She has projects concerning how to have inclusive education, not just the system, even an inclusive education in the classroom. She has founded Adventure Academy, one of the greatest work that she had. She has worked for 14 years with children and learners with special needs, ranging from autism, ADHD, learners with hearing challenges and other learning disabilities or challenges. Um, right now, she has also founded ECA. She's a co-founder of ECA, Educational Charitable Trust, as well as the current president of the Special Educators and Rehabilitation Professionals Association, or SERPA. And with much happiness and pride and excitement, we welcome Santi to our podcast. Hi, Santi.
Hi, Jim. Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation.
We are
And
very proud that you are here. Finally, you are part of the empowerED podcast. So, Santi, how are you? How is India, your school community right now?
um, so India is coping up very stable right now. In the beginning of the pandemic, we had very strict lockdown, and it was played really very well. The numbers were, greatly under control compared to other countries. And then we have started unlockdown started happening, and then numbers shot up, and it was very severely affected. We almost went to top two and top one around the world, but now again numbers are coming down. People are again back to lockdown and maintaining some self discipline, and
Well,
things
it's
are
a good
going
news.
on.
It's a good news that the number of cases are going down, and that's what we want right now.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen quickly, but it's good to see that the number of COVID cases is decreasing. Um, in terms of education right now, we're going through the discussion right now. How is India coping with the effects of the pandemic in a general sense with the education system right now?
Okay. So in education system, it has been a huge shock, culturally, because most of the schools here all are physical classrooms where students go to the classroom and teachers take the classes physically, and a lot of hands-on activities happen through lecture-based and activity-based. To convert everything into online has been a huge culture shock, and not all the teachers are tech savvy. So, and we were not having enough guidelines from the government on how to go about and how to proceed. So there have been a huge question mark. But luckily in India, we have a lot of private schools than the government run schools. So the private schools had this independence and freedom to take a call whether they want to go online or they have to wait for the government. So we have that freedom. So from the day two of the lockdown, most of the private schools have started online classes through Zoom and Google Meets or Teams, various apps, and it has been quite challenging to figure out how to go about it, but we figured out. However, not everyone could implement or follow the online classes because of lack of resources. Not everyone has access to internet as well as computers. So the government, I think from after 1 month of pandemic, government has launched radio schools and schools through TV, television. and try to reach out to the rural areas as well. Now, slowly, some of the schools have started for physical classes where the teachers are going to the schools and trying to video record and send the lessons to the students through WhatsApp or YouTube, and trying to, experiment and test the waters.
Santi, that's wonderful. You've shared to us that the Indian government, the Indian education system, has explored different opportunities. In the Philippines, we call it like different distance education modalities, so that you can reach further or reach every learner wherever they are in India. You mentioned about online distance learning or online classes. Aside from the resources, I'm very interested to know how much teachers know or have adjusted in terms of the pedagogical approaches. What have been the challenges when they were, planning or even executing their lessons for online classes?
Right. Jim, as you know that me and my team currently work with a lot of students with special needs, and most of our lessons are all hands-on activities, and we are skill-based training center. So to convert everything into an online-based training has been a huge challenge, because we had to put everything through PPTs and ensure that there is support coming from home as well, so that parents can learn from us and teach the students back at home. It has been quite challenging. And also, all the teachers are not tech savvy. They don't know how to use online platforms and stuff. And the children also did not realize how to use online platform because of their limitations with respect to comprehending technology, or how to go about communication system and all. So it was quite challenging in the beginning, but within a fortnight's time, everyone got used to it, and we were able to figure out. However, the resources are still a major challenge, because we have students who are from privileged as well as underprivileged backgrounds. So providing resources for them, be it computer or a tab, plus connecting them to the internet has been, it's still a challenge for us, trying to gather resources and provide them with the opportunities, because we do not want anyone to feel underprivileged or left behind. So that has been a huge challenge, and for the teachers to ensure that there is a smooth running in the timetable has been major challenge, because working from home there is a lot of distraction, from the household. Not everyone can have the privacy in their houses, so maintaining the privacy has also been a little bit of challenge in the initial days.
I love that you mentioned not just about the pedagogical side. This is still on the current, and the general Indian education system, and I cannot but appreciate that you mentioned also like how it's really hard to work from home for our teachers, but at the same time, even for learners, it's gonna be difficult, challenging to learn when you are at the comfort of your home.
Right.
And you've mentioned about how work, parent responsibility as a parent, or maybe responsibility at home for the learners could be blurred, or it's not could be, it's really blurred right now. I myself experienced that. It's really
Absolutely.
hard. It's really hard to focus on work if you have Netflix, if you have your bed, even the refrigerator with all the food in there, those kinds of temptations that would distract you really,
Absolutely.
really from work, and that's very challenging. Yeah.
Yes. So
Um.
initially we had a lot of academic classes which were easily figured out how to do online. When it comes to skill development, like housekeeping or cooking, laundry, these kind of activities, took a lot of time to convert them from hands-on, to ensure that the skills are being taught through the online media. That has been a huge challenge, because we needed parent supervision when it comes to especially cooking, when they have to use fire and electrical appliances or sharp objects. We need parents to be intervened. So it was little challenging to ensure, because most of the parents are working parents. For them to come and give time has been also a little bit of challenge. So to convert things into online media has been like a wonderful roller coaster ride, I would say.
Yeah, pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Santi, I want to pick up on what you've mentioned about the role of parents.
Mhm.
We're not yet talking about the special, the special classes that you have or special education. This
Right.
was really more on a general sense.
Uh-huh.
Um, how did you convince, or how are the parents right now with the idea that they need to be more active, like for those skill based that need parent supervision, or even the idea of fixing or maybe troubleshooting technical difficulties for online classes, or maybe staying at home for you know for to guide the kids. How did the parents react to it, and how are they now?
Okay. So initially there has been extreme resistance for online classes because people were really scared with the screen time, because some of the students are fragile to screen time, and medically they're not in a position to take a lot of screen time, and there have been a lot of articles about how screen time has been affecting behaviors, and the eye sight and all that stuff, so attention deficitness and all. So initially there has been a super resistance from parents to enroll for the online classes, and they were under the impression that we can take a break for a month or two. After the pandemic is gone, we can bounce back to physical classrooms. And then after looking at the way the pandemic has been spreading, and the signs of the pandemic going any soon, seemed a little distant dream. After that, parents are now slowly coming forward to take up the online classes, and they've realized that yeah, taking a longer break is not good for them or for the children. It will only cause regression in the students' progress, and so slowly parents are coming forward and accepting this online era.
Which I think is a very good thing for me. Like,
Yes.
it's been for the longest time. I don't know if this is something valid or real in India, but what I've recognized even in the Philippines is that, for the longest time, because we've been doing on-site face-to-face learning,
Mhm.
it's as if the education of kids, it's always on the responsibility of teachers of the
Right.
school, that
Right.
we've often forget the role, the very very essential role of parents in
Absolutely.
in in, in the education of students. I mean, like, it's not just academic development, it's
Right.
also, if you look at it, a holistic kind of education. So we need the parents to get involved.
Yes.
Right now, the pandemic, which put us into lockdown or quarantine, community quarantine scenarios for the longest time, like in the Philippines, it's been 8 months and counting. The role of parents have been highlighted, and I love that the word that you've mentioned, they have come to accept it, you know that they have to be more active. Of course, it's not the same. We have working parents, we have parents who might have more freedom to work with their time schedule, so that they can stay at home. But I think the first step really there is just to accept that they have a bigger role. So thank you
Right.
so much. I think that's a wonderful highlight that you've given, in terms of learning from the current education challenges that we have in general. Santi, I want to go to much deeper into your expertise,
Mhm.
and I'm looking forward into learning from your experience right now. I haven't had an episode that focuses on special education. And I'm excited right now because we're not just going to talk about special education, but it's special education in the context of the pandemic. So it's very much challenging. I foresee that it's very much challenging, but I just wanna bring this up first. In terms of special education, how are we coping with, in terms of education right now, like in the area of special education as of the moment?
Right. Um, it, when it comes to teaching the children in the mainstream school with neurotypical abilities itself has been challenging. For students with special needs, the coping has been at another level because it involves a lot of therapies, not just the education for them. Therapies like physical therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy, yoga therapy, or hydrotherapy. Different types of therapies are involved. All these therapies have been stalled, for an uncertain amount of time, like when are we going to reopen and all that stuff. So without the therapies, we cannot really expect a holistic development to happen at the same pace. Providing special education support alone is not sufficient for our children. I would say definitely the progress has slowed down, but again the pace of picking up with the progress has again started little slowly right now in the last 2 3 months, because even the therapists have now started figuring out how to go about online by asking the parents themselves to buy the stuff at home and get involved. Otherwise, earlier therapists would work with the child directly and they would do the hands-on activities and help the students cope up. But now parents are getting involved, they are being trained so that they empower the students and help them cope up therapeutically. So it's a win-win situation right now, which was like, it is like a blessing in disguise. Parents are getting empowered through this means, and it has not been a easy thing for the therapists, especially the speech therapy and occupational physical therapists, to convert. I would say that for special educators it's been easy comparatively, because we have a lot of academics and hands-on activities that we could try converting. But when it comes to physical therapy or occupational therapy, you need a lot of equipment and materials that are required to support, which parents cannot afford and have them placed in their household. So for them to come up with alternative means to compensate and substitute has been quite a task. Now that the therapies have begun, students are able to show a little bit of holistic development in the last 2 3 months. And however, also the plus side of it is that now that parents are getting involved, the students are showing better progress because they're able to practice well at home. Otherwise, it would have been always students come to the school and we, as the teachers, train them and then they go back home and then they relax. Right now, parents are getting involved when we are teaching. So parents know how do we teach and how the students are progressing, and they're able to practice at home. And students are able to generalize what we are teaching at home. So we are now seeing the pearls of the online era.
So three things, Santi. First one is, I hope I don't forget this. I hope I could remember them properly. Number one is progress definitely did not stop, right? We continue. It slowed down, like what you've said, and I think that's a very honest remark. It slowed down because physical limitations. We cannot be with them, or educators cannot be with the learners or the students. So it did not stop, but it definitely slowed down. But it didn't mean that there was a stop to it. I love that you were very, very honest about it. I think it's what we want. It is the reality that we have right now. We don't want any form of education to stop, but at some point it might have slowed down. But we're picking up from where we slowed down. Second one is, I love this. Really love that you pointed out the role of parents right now. We need the parents more than ever, and especially with students with special needs, students under the special education area or system. We really need to work hand in hand with home, right?
Yes.
So I think the pandemic has really brought us into that reality again, that we need to work closely with home if we want to have a better education system that will have to withstand whatever disruption that will come in. So I'm gonna add some question on that later. Maybe I will ask some examples on how you empowered parents. But I love that. The third one is, um, I'm trying to recall the third one. It's really more of being creative and resourceful. I love that you mentioned a while ago. I think that has been one of the challenges. I was invited to speak about distance education to schools for special education, and to be honest, I didn't say yes to the invitation. I was privileged. I think I said yes, but I only told them that I can only speak at this level. In terms of going distance education with special education area, I told them that I cannot speak much about it because I know for a fact that I don't have any experience to it. And like what you've mentioned, I think this were the first thing that came into my mind, like the special equipments, the special materials or resources that are only found in special education schools or institutions. I don't know how to address that, and I told them that maybe you need to ask someone really from special education to speak about it. But I love that you pointed out, we can be resourceful because, equipment can be very, very expensive. But if we want to work with parents and help them, then we must find a way that we could be resourceful with them. Okay, so I love those three ideas, Santi, and thank you for mentioning that. Let's go back again to the parents. Can you give me some examples on how, specific ways on how you empowered parents as a way to make sure that progress continues with students with special needs?
Yeah. So when we were taking physical classes, parents would not be able to come to the classes and attend the classes and see how we are teaching. So we used to conduct regular workshops, parent training programs where they used to come and attend. Right now, since it's all work from home, parents are able to sit along with the student and watch when the teachers are teaching. So they actually don't have to go to college to learn what special education is, but actually getting hands-on and real-time experience throughout the day, and they're learning by observation, and they're not just able to observe their own child, they're able to observe the other students also in the classroom and how everyone is coping up and how a teacher handles all the class students in the classroom. So they're actually having a kind of internship program, unofficial internship program and training. So that has been one. And we kept it open for the parents that in case if anyone wants to sit and learn, they can sit and learn and support. If they are busy, they don't have to. But sometimes when we might need your support, you will have to pitch in. So parents were quite supportive. We have not experienced anywhere where the parents have shown reluctance that we cannot come. It has been very what you call a fruitful cooperative experience all this while. Initial resistance was there, but then I think from June it has been running super smoothly. We are even conducting a lot of events, birthday parties online. Everything is online right now. We have dance competition, music competition, everything is happening like any other academic year. So parents are getting trained through these classes, and we have also been conducting throughout our summer. We have conducted a lot of online workshops for the parents on different topics, which we were going to cover practically this whole academic year. So we gave them theory knowledge during the summer holidays, and now they're seeing it practically so that they're empowered both skill wise as well as knowledge has been taken into consideration. And there is also one more organization called SERPA, SERPA, which stands for Special Educators and Rehabilitation Professionals Association, which is based out of Bangalore, but it does all online classes only, training. So we have been conducting a lot of sessions on various therapies as well, not just special education based, but on different therapy models, so that parents can understand what are different therapies or how to improve the memory, how to improve the comprehension, what is inclusion. All these topics are being covered and trained so that they themselves can work at home and not dependent on outside resources. So yeah, it's been beautiful as well.
We're taking advantage of what we can do right now, and turning the negative experiences, the challenging ones, into
Yes.
opportunities, and maybe learning from them, which is I think uh definitely came out from your experience as a special educator, as an advocate and as a leader in India also. We are now on the last stretch of our podcast interview, Santi, and this was supposed to be the question: how do we give support to special education teachers and students? I think you answered most of it already. You mentioned about SERPA,
Certainly.
and how you go beyond borders of the country to help teachers and even parents and everyone who's really interested with special education to learn more about what it means to be inclusive, the different therapy models that they can learn into. I'm gonna shift a little bit, and this is not, hopefully it's not a surprising question, but I think this is a more reflective question. We've learned a lot from the pandemic right now, how we do distance education or how we view education, what is one thing that you would bring when when the pandemic ends, one thing that you would bring that you have learned from our experience right now that you would like to continue even after the pandemic?
That would be a combination of both physical classes as well as online classes, because parents getting involved has been a huge breakthrough in the students' progress, and we would like to continue the online classes. And we are able to now support students and teachers from across the world, not just from India or Bangalore. So we would like to continue the support through online model. So the online pandemic has helped us understand that we can actually broaden our horizon and spread our resources, not just limiting to the city that where we are working, but also outside the city and outside the country. So combination of both physical classes and the online classes will have to continue, and I think that's a very good takeaway for me from the pandemic and in the online era.
And that is wonderful,
And
Santi.
never
Thank you
lose
so
the hope.
much. Yeah.
it, it's also like never lose hope. Even in the worst, we can still do the best. That's been one of the biggest takeaways. There is always a, and storm always ends is something we have learned.
Yeah, wonderful idea. Thank you so much, Sandy. And I love that you emphasize, hope, and we will be able to pass this one way or another, and when we're keeping that hope in our hearts. Santi, this has been a very, very informative um, podcast session with you. Thank you for sharing your experiences as a special
Um,
education advocate and leader, as well as giving us a glimpse of how the Indian education system is coping with the pandemic right now. And we're very much grateful for your presence here. Any final words that you want to share to our listeners and to our audience?
let's continue to support each other the way we have been, and this too shall pass. And hope and peace are the answers for this pandemic. So let's stay hopeful and let's maintain the peace within and outside us. Thank you so much, Jim, for this opportunity, and I really loved and enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you so much, Santi. It's an honor for us to have you in Empower Ed Podcast. And thank you to our listeners and to our viewers for joining us once again into our Empower Ed Podcast. We'll see you in our next episode. Thank you so much, everyone. Stay safe and goodbye.